marketers see the value in having information about people. We see the value in having information about the government and transparency. So there's this tension around controlled information, which is, I think, the nexus of privacy. And I think the debate is, what are the parameters? One of the challenging things is that the people that hold the information have the ability to then use that information in a way to prevent others from basically ensuring their position, right? And so I think that the challenge is how do we create a nice balance whereby everyone can have the information for the value they seek, but we all kind of have equal play or equal playing field.
One really fun quick point is when I was making that earlier version of the film I was discussing, I was at Stanford and they were investigating what would happen in an election if you merged the individual's face with the face of the politician that they may vote for in an advertisement. So basically those two things combined, and then you were something like 30% more likely to vote for that person if your face, they shared similar facial features. So it just shows that these things are in effect, that they're trying to use data in a way to manipulate the population into voting against how they may otherwise prefer to vote.
We have time for, I think, one or two more. So can I go all the way in the back? And then we'll do these two if they're quick.
Hi, Missy Herrera, occasional Facebook and Twitter user. Great film. Kudos to your research. Love that you used a clip from Lives of Others. You showed a guy you showed the head of the CIA who gets his emails hacked. You got a guy who used a colloquialism in a tweet who gets barred from the U.S. And you got a guy who quotes a movie on Facebook and gets his door broken in by a SWAT team.
This is a killer summary.
So, given all that you know, in the next 3 to 5 years, do you think it's actually possible to draft and get enforceable regulations that actually enhance and protect your privacy? Or is the better way to teach people how, whatever way you want to call self-censor or use technology to protect themselves, is it actually possible to make our laws work to protect us, or do we have to actually engage in some sort of not posting things to protect ourselves?
All right, so hold on to that, and we're just going to take these last two, and they're going to be so quick, right here and then right there. I mean, they're going to be some of the quickest questions. Your predecessors are not the models. Right here.
There's a reception to be had, so.
Well,
I'll give you free drinks if they're quick.
I didn't really have a question, I just have a statement, and that is the challenge that we're going to have to make any changes is got to change this atmosphere of fear that has been fostered on us. So many people are reluctant to make any changes in the security stuff because of the fear of the terrorists. And that has been pushed on us to the extent that too many people believe it, so they're willing to let their privacy be violated. If you want to draw a line in between privacy and security, you have to understand what the risks are to your security. And nobody has come up with an honest assessment of what is the real threat to our security. We've been lied to and exaggerated beyond any possible concept. And until somebody comes up and gives us a realistic appraisal of what is the real threat to our security, you will never be able to change that.
All right, thank
But
you.
it's
And
not
the
a
last question.
So I'd just like to ask the panel if they feel that there is any room left for trust in our society. I see governments vigilant against their citizens, and I see citizens vigilant against their
So I think to summarize, what the hell can we do? Give us some hope. I want to start at the end and to do that.
I guess I wouldn't be up here if I didn't think there was some hope. So, again, I work with a lot of historically marginalized communities, and the choice between not going online and going online is not an option for them, right? We live in a digital world, and it's important to grapple with all of its tensions, all of its contradictions. And I think there's a willingness to learn what the problems are and what we can do about them. Whether we're going to see within a 3 to 5 year time period some real change on the Hill is one thing, but I am optimistic that we are in an actual political moment where public opinion is changing about this idea of fear, about the complacency that has existed. We're in a political moment where we have the opportunity to change the debate, and I think that's really important to recognize. The thing that I've said in the past is that the Privacy Act of 1974 was passed in the wake of Watergate and in the wake of the discovery of the abusive nature of COINTELPRO, and I think we're in a similar moment, and we need to keep that in perspective.
Yeah, I'll just jump off that point of how do you, kind of create a model that works in this space with all the different actors. And I think the key here is to align incentives, right? There's laws, for example, that make companies complicit with the government, right? So you want to figure out a way to make companies accountable and more transparent in their processes and not liable to work with the government, but then companies might abuse power. So then you want to create hooks for when we can hold companies accountable when they don't, kind of terms of service for companies when they don't actually work in our favor. And conversely, you need ways to kind of balance out the requirements of security and kind of human rights and kind of corporate interests. And the idea is you keep each accountable to the other, and hopefully have a model where we balance this out. Whereas right now, you have laws on the books that put two of the actors in line against, say, one of the actors, and it's not very balanced. And so that's the math that I would do.
All right, last word.
Okay. Again, regulation, innovation, and pressure. I think those are the things that need to happen. I think we have to trust each other. I have to be optimistic, because if we're not optimistic, we're screwed. I really think that it has to happen first with awareness. I mean, that's part of what this film is about, is just building more awareness. Because honestly, I'm not even, maybe Congressman Kucinich can speak to this, but I'm not totally convinced that everybody on Capitol Hill totally understands everything that's, in this film. So, that's why we started Track Off Us. Is we're doing a screening on September 17th for as many people on the Hill as we can get to go and see the film, so we can start opening up the conversation about how we can tackle regulation. And because regulation is vital, because if you do not regulate what these companies are doing, someone's going to take advantage of it. They're not going to be able to self-regulate. The very nature of it is that the environment is, if you can make money doing something, you're going to do it. So we have to start regulating in that way, and at the same time, we have to start innovating, because, look, encryption models, new methods need to be developed. We need them to be as strong as possible, because outside of the NSA, we haven't even talked about this, but the surveillance vendors that are out there selling various types of laundering equipment go far beyond the NSA. They sell to all kinds of government agencies, and they can sell them to anyone they want to. They're completely unregulated. So that needs to change. So there's a lot that needs to change, but man, I'm really thrilled that this conversation is happening right now. I really do believe we're at a tipping point. And I hope that you all tell your friends to come see this film over the next week and keep the conversation going.
All right, well, thank you to the panel.